good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. My name is Andrew from BDTA Ireland, and I want to do a very quick presentation today with perhaps a slightly different focus to some of the other presentations, which will be focused on the technical and the twin. And what I want to talk about today is digital twins' response to COVID-19, and really to think and talk about the human beings involved with digital twins. So why is everybody not as enthusiastic about twins as we are, everyone who's on this call, obviously? Why are the obvious benefits of digital twins not being taken on by everybody? These are not digital twins that you can see. These are my own analog digital twins, Sam on the left, Ben on the right. And you can see my oldest child in the middle is clearly not very enthusiastic about the twins he finds himself with in the back of the car. Let's consider him to be our digital twin manager. The problem that or the challenge that we face is to try and solve his problem. And to solve his problem, we need to understand what's making him unhappy. And trying to understand the mind of a 4-year-old is not feasible and not what we're here to do today. But what we're here to do today is think about the problems that COVID-19 in particular has caused for people in the built environment, and what we might do to help them and to show them the answers via the implementation of the digital twin methodology and the approach. So how do we do that? In my opinion, we need to solve the problems for the individuals, not to create the solutions and then go searching for implementers or people who match that criteria. And we need to solve their problems. And what are the problems for stakeholders in a built environment? And specifically, I think today for me, the problems that have been caused or exacerbated by COVID-19. I've selected just a couple. There are obviously many, but I think one of the first issues and problems that we have to solve is the uncertainty, and the uncertainty that COVID-19 has brought. It's probably the biggest change to most of our lives, that in living memory for almost all of us. It's changed everything. It's changed how we work. It's certainly changed how we build, and it's made things very, very uncertain. And uncertainty in the built environment and the construction environment is a real enemy to the construction and the built environment. The built environment hates uncertainty, not knowing what we can do, not knowing when we can do it, and not knowing how long it's going to take. All of that has obviously a cost implication. And somebody's on speaker. The second problem, which clearly has been exacerbated by COVID-19, is safety. So human safety. So COVID is a public health emergency, and the physical safety of all stakeholders in the built environment have been affected. Access is a clear problem. So many of us haven't been able to access our workspace. Many of us certainly haven't been able to access buildings that are within our remit, be that professionally or as a resident. Residents themselves haven't been able to leave their property, which causes an access problem for those who want to come in, and data retrieval. So there are still many buildings that hold their data within the building itself. Maybe that's consumption data. Maybe it's data directly from the humans, the residents in that building. These are the problems that have been amplified by COVID. And I want to use this as an example. I want to use social distancing as an example. Social distancing, which is a phrase probably none of us really heard of, or certainly wouldn't have understood maybe 15, 16 months ago. And now it's central to every single thing we do the second that we leave our front door of our house or our apartment. And why is this important for what I want to talk about today? I think it's the normalization of what is such an extraordinarily different new way of dealing with people, dealing with things. Every single social interaction we have now, whether it's the shop or the street, how we walk down a path, how we walk down a road, how we walk through a park has changed. And this is interesting for us when we think about the uptake of digital twins, because it tells us how adaptable we are as humans. into fundamental changes in our society and in our needs. We are actually willing to do some extraordinary things to solve the problem. Now, what's the problem here? The problem is we want to go for a walk or we want to go out, but we're willing to do absolutely extraordinary things, as you can see here, to solve a problem. Now, these guys' problem, look at the lengths that these guys are willing to go to have a glass of wine and sit out on a pavement. Extraordinary lengths. And there's an extraordinary willingness to change behaviors to resolve a problem. Now, what is our response as the Building Digital Twin Association, as a digital twin kind of proponents, and what's the digital initiative? For me, the Building Digital Twin allows stakeholders to practice a professional distancing. So the ability to digitally interact with a building is fundamental to the idea of a digital twin. And those 4 issues that we looked at in the earlier slide. So uncertainty, the enemy of the construction industry and the built environment. How is that reduced? It's reduced, as Michael said in the keynote speak, it's reduced by allowing us to make our mistakes in the virtual space. So now we can carry out some design, we can take information, and we can make decisions in the virtual space. We can professionally distance ourselves from the building and make some decisions and carry out some actions. Safety, clearly, in relation to COVID, there is no risk in the virtual space of catching or transmitting COVID-19 or any future, similar kind of infection or pandemic. Access is either no longer required or is significantly reduced. We no longer have to send somebody to take information or to view a building or to take data or to interact with the residency. We talked about the guiding principles of ethics and trust, as Miguel just talked about. Digital twins allow us to access that virtual space, which means we don't have to access the real space, and data retrieval. So information that's locked in a building during COVID, that information is still in that building. If it's not viewable to us, to the outside world, it's of no use. And there's also a role here for thinking about how people have changed their work. There are many buildings where building information is kept in a BMS or a terminal in an office. Those offices have been closed for 9 of the last 12 months. And so that's how professional distancing allows us to go around some of the problems that COVID has shown. So to conclude, and I want to try and give Ignacio back some minutes, the digital twin offers us increased professional distancing opportunities, and professional distancing itself will allow stakeholders to navigate their way out of COVID and the uncertainty, and to prepare for future interruptions. I believe that when the next COVID comes along, or the next threat of COVID, the reactions are going to be very different, and they're probably going to be more extreme, and they're probably going to be very much sharper. And it's beholden on all of us to prepare for that. And having a digital twin and some professional distance will allow us to prepare for that, to be ready to improve and increase the size of this virtual space. So if we can, as an association and as a group of experts, if we can identify and ease the problems, then we will have smiles and we will have members. If you look at the picture on the right, so this is the same grumpy boy on the same day. We've identified his problem. It was very simple. He wanted an ice cream. We provided that, and this is the end result. So that's professional distancing and BDTA's response to COVID-19. Thank you very much.